introduction of vocabulary. Next one.
Joy, uy, muna kayo ni Joy. Kinaset muna tayo.
Answer? Magulit ba?
Ay, WP is not.
Di ka mautod lang. Para di ka mautod. Kaya time.
So, good morning everyone. My topic is just a continuation with Miss Marjorie Moho. Now, let us read our learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to, in 3, 2, 1, go.
Explain the key aspects of vocabulary development. Demonstrate appreciation for the importance of selecting appropriate materials. And design or create a simple vocabulary learning material.
So these are the learning objectives that we will make at the end of the lesson. But let me further introduce to you about the idea of World Mission 2001 cited in Brian Tomlinson. So he explained that effective vocabulary teaching laid down 4 elements, which is the aspect, components, learning activities, and suggested materials. Talking about the aspect, this is the features of a word that the student will need to know to fully understand and use it. For example, the form, the meaning, form, and use. Meaning is what the word means. The form is how the word is spelled or pronounced, and the use is how the word is used in a sentence or in a communication. Now, in components, this is the specific knowledge that the learner should develop in learning vocabulary. Learning activities, these are the tasks or activities that the teacher uses in teaching vocabulary, and suggested materials, these are the tools and materials that teacher uses to support in teaching, of course, the vocabulary. Now we have here the first aspect. The meaning, the aspect meaning focuses on helping students understand what the word means in their life. So when students learn vocabulary, they are just not memorizing the word, but also understanding concept and how it is used in context. Now let us, for example, meaning the aspect word generous. The form of the word generous is how it pronounced or how the word generous is spelled. And the meaning is someone who loves to share or give to others. Now we have the component. Component, this is the form and meaning connection. So, able to read the spoken or written word with its correct meaning. So in other words, when students see or hear the specific words, they will immediately recognize what that word means. So these are the learning activities that the teacher uses in support in teaching a specific component and aspect. These activities choosing the correct word for the context. So let the student choose an appropriate word that is appropriate for the context. So let's for example, she is very blank because she helps poor people. Now what is the answer with this? Generous. Very good. She is generous because she helps poor people. Here are another activities, learning activities that the teacher uses. This one is you let your student choose the right definition or correct meaning to the form of word, or vice versa. Now here's another example, the reading activities. So in the reading activities, you will have the riddle and you let your student answer the riddle. So first example is I am bright and hot. I rise in the morning and set in the evening. What am I? Very good. It is the sun. By this means, the students will enhance or will able to develop the form and meaning connection. Gets? These are the suggested vocabulary materials. So we have here vocabulary.com, word cards. You are familiar with this, word cards, the picture cards, four things in one word, and riddles. This one is iPad open lang online, and I have provided the new sources which I found online.
Joy.
Synonym.
Joyful.
Joyful.
Big.
Huge. Huge.
Huge.
Huge yan.
Big. What is the synonym of big?
Huge.
Huge. Enormous. Oh.
Small.
Tiny.
Tiny.
Fast.
Furious.
Fast.
Quick. Oh.
Smart.
Intelligent.
So, that is just like this one. So we have here another learning activities, identifying the correct meaning of words. So this activity is you can let your student choose the correct meaning of words from several options. The pyramids in Egypt are ancient. So what do you think is the appropriate word?
Very old.
Very good. Very old. Now we have here the appropriate material, semantic picture analysis activities. So it let your student compare vocabulary words by identifying its distinguished characteristic or features of a word, such as this. The dog has a fur but can't fly and gives a milk. A cat has a fur and gives milk. A bird can fly and fish lives in water. In that certain activities, children or learner can develop the concept and difference component. Now here are the suggested materials. Word source is somehow a active hand-on learning activities where students categorize the words based on specific features like sound, spelling patterns, or meaning. Just like that. A-N, pan, man, can, just like that. Then Dictogloss, it is a collaborative task, a task-based language chain. So it is, you let your student hear a story, and the student will take note of the words, and at the end of listening, they will make their own story, just like that. Then we have a word about vocabulary dictionary packet and semantic picture analysis. So again, semantic picture analysis, it is somehow suggested materials that the teacher uses a grid, to help learners explore relationship between words and concepts by mapping their semantic features, such as function, descriptions, and definition. So a word about vocabulary is the link that I can open. So it is somehow a document that is composed of learning activities that the teacher would use in teaching a vocabulary. So we have here another aspect, which is use. So the use aspect of vocabulary focusing on students understand how to apply words correctly in context. So it goes beyond knowing a word's meaning. So they will help students understand how the word used in a sentence, phrases, and communication. So we have here the component, specific knowledge that the learner should develop. Association refers to the ability to connect words with related words, ideas, or concepts. So this helps learners understand the relationship between words such as synonyms, antonyms, or words that often appear together. So we have here the learning activities. So finding word substitutes. From the sentence, the girl was happy. Instead of using the given word happy, you can use the substitute word, which is the joyful, glad, and cheerful. Now we have here another learning activities, explaining connections and creating world maps. So this world maps, it shows connection between words and understanding relationship between words. The given word is the teacher. Now these words that surround the teacher, it is the associated word that can be associated with the word teacher, such as educator, facilitator, mentor, and coach. We have here also finding opposites and classifying words. Classifying words into how the words function in a sentence. It could be a verb, noun, adjective, adverb, or a verb. So we have here also another example. So suggesting word association have here the suggested materials or resources that the teacher uses in teaching the specific component and aspect. So the word cards were word trade activities. So these word cards, it is a small index cards, each featuring a specific word that the player must act out. So without speaking for their team, we guess within the time limit. So we have your comic strips. Well, it allows your students to make comic strips and human brain cloud, mind maps, and bumper words in. This is the comicscript.com. Yes, they have different features and it allows your students to create a comics. So we have here paano sila ma'am suggested materials that the teacher can use in teaching specific aspect of components. So we have here another aspect. So the use aspect of vocabulary here, it focuses on helping students understand how to use word correctly in sentences or communication. So it is not enough to know the meaning of a word. The students must also know how the word functions grammatically in sentences. So the word can be a verb, adjective, or an adverb. So the components for the specific knowledge that the students develop is grammatical functions. So this pertains to understanding the role of words in sentences, so such as the word as a subject, as an object, or as an modifier. So this is the learning activities. So this one, matching sentence halves. So you will cut the sentence into halves and you will let your student to connect the sentence to make it more meaningful or to understand it clearly. So if the children play, the house is in the park after school. If you connect the sentence, the children played in the park after school, and so on with the other example. And another example is rearrange words to form a sentence. So this example is the word is somewhat mixed up, and the student will arrange it in a correct order, such as this: she did her homework quickly. The garden has many beautiful flowers. Now, suggested materials and resources that can be used by the teacher in teaching these grammatically functions as dictogloss. Again, dictogloss is you will let your student hear a story and you will take note of the keywords, and after listening to that story or to that text, they will make their own story or text. Now, word maze, somewhat a maze na doon siya di magkuhan doon ang muna ina-map out. Tapos word wall, this is a word wall. So it is gyapon alin that used by the teacher in creating activities, teaching vocabulary. So we have here the collocation. So the use aspect here focuses on students how words are used together to hear a fluent conversation or a fluent language. So of course, knowing a meaning is not enough, but of course learners also need to know which words commonly occur in produce natural and fluent language. So talking about the collocation, it is a word that appear together that would speak or listen naturally. So, like for example, this is learning activities. Find or match collocates, such as this. Collocation is the word that appear together to make the spoken means more naturally. So strong, is a collocates is strong coffee, strong tea, strong pen, heavy rain, heavy traffic, heavy bag, fast car, fast runner, fast food, bright light, bright idea, bright picture, and make decision, make effort, and make mistakes. These are the words that appear together in a language. So these are the suggested materials and resources that used by the teacher in the students to collect written documents and create their own mini corporate speaking solution in academic text. So this is example of a data-driven language. So you will type this specific words and that will up to now. So the last aspect. This use aspect focuses on teaching students how words used appropriately in different contexts. So the constraint or use necessary to serve frequency. So constraints refers to the limit pattern of use. So register, for example, register, frequency, and situational appropriateness. Talking about the register is the language can be formal, informal, academic, or spoken. The frequency, how the word frequently used. It is common, rare, less common. The institutional context, the language can be used in a businesses, casual, academic context. Now this is the learning activities that used by the teachers. Identifying words constraints. So this learning activities is students examine words and decide are they formal, informal, or neutral? Are they common use? Rare, common, and less common? Let's use that. And the suggested materials that can be used in teaching this constraint or use is sketch engine, coordination factors, survival, collaborative. And that would be all. Any question? Clarification? So in conclusion, interactive vocabulary teaching involves more than just memorizing definition. So it requires understanding the meaning, usage, and word relationship. So by selecting appropriate and engaging learning materials and tools, teachers can help students develop deeper vocabulary knowledge. So this strengthens overall language skills and improves learners' confidence in communication. Now, we will do assessment time. Please get 1/4 sheet of paper.
Comfort ka na eh, comfort. Comfort kasi.
The number 1. And that was